Running from place to place, place. Good morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning,
Good morning,
viewers.
morning.
Good morning, viewers. It is 7 a.m. 7 a.m. and welcome to the Tobago Updates morning show coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. As we continue to give God thanks for life, I am Julianski.
And I am Maria Richardson George, and this is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. Good morning to Tobago, good morning Trinidad. Those of you viewing in the Caribbean and those of you on the live, good morning to you. Julian, I feel like it's Monday morning for me.
Yes, good morning, and rightfully so, Ria. All right. Very interesting kind of. This is your start for the week, Ria.
That's very correct.
Understandably so.
Yes.
Understandably so. Yes, viewers, at this point, we're heading straight on over to news in 90 seconds.
The news in 90 seconds is brought to you by Flow, working for you on Tobago's newest fiber network.
Thank you, Ria and Julian. I am Bianna Brebner, and here is your news in 90 seconds for Tuesday, 11th July 2023, brought to you by Flow. Tobago students experience an improvement in C results when compared to the years 2022 and 2021. The Secretary of Education, Research and Technology, Zarisha Hackett, provided an analysis of the scores yesterday at a press conference. She explained that when compared to the national average score of 199 points, the average mean score of girls in Tobago was 3 points lower, while it was 7 points lower for boys. Additionally, out of the 1,048 students writing the exam, only 159 scored below 30%. The national flour mills reduced the price of flour by 10%. The price reduction followed global trends of falling prices over the past few weeks. Along with keeping an eye on these prices, CEO Ian Mitchell stated that the cost of goods and services and other inputs contributed to this drop. He stated that they believe with the stabilization of costs, they can now pass on savings to their customers. Mitchell added that NFM's pricing decision will always have the short, medium, and long-term goals of providing consumers with the best quality products from a safe, quality food certified flour producer at the competitive price. Finally, Trinidad and Tobago received a positive rating from the international rating agency Moody Investor Services. TNT's BA2 rating remains unchanged, but the country's outlook has shifted from stable to positive, according to a statement issued by the Ministry of Finance on Monday. Finance Minister Colin Imbert stated he is encouraged by the improved outlook because it recognizes the positive outcome of the country's effort to mitigate the negative effects of the COVID-19 pandemic and declining energy revenue. And that was your news in 90 seconds.
The news in 90 seconds is brought to you by Flow, working for you on Tobago's newest fiber network.
Tobago, after freeness is more speed and better TV. Get a free Samsung smartphone and free installation, plus 200 megabits per second, Paramount Plus, and more for only $299 with a select 200 plan from Flow. Visit online at discoverflow.co today.
Welcome back, viewers, to the Tobago Updates morning show coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. And we move straight from our news in 90 seconds onto our birthday shout-out, sponsored by KFC.
This is your birthday shoutouts on Tobago Updates, sponsored by KFC.
And we start things off this morning celebrating Star Nelson. A happy birthday going out to you, Star, and lots of love from your mommy, Sarah, and your sister, Davina, and from all of us here at Tobago Updates.
Happy birthday, Star. And we also have on screen that's Imani Morris. Wishing Imani Morris a happy birthday.
And you got to put in here the Zoya. This is Imani Zoya Morris, and this is the daughter of Emmanuel Morris, or Donnie, and Lois Brown Morris. This is the first of their children celebrating her birthday today. So Imani, happy birthday going out to you from Auntie Abby, Uncle Preston, Uncle Oswald, Auntie Ria, and all the family at the Wesleyan Holiness Churches in Tobago. And we continue the celebrations. This is Tamara Parks, and I'm a little bit in shock here. This is birthday greetings going out to Tamara Parks from all of her family here in Tobago and in the UK. And this is the daughter of, or one of the daughters of Anton Parks. So happy birthday going out to you. And that is her celebrating there again.
And the man on the screen, Ellis Boris. And we're wishing you a happy, happy birthday and God's continued blessings. We trust that you'll continue to enjoy the celebrations, continuing to make that significant contribution and giving service to Tobago. Ellis Boris, happy birthday going out to you from the entire Tobago Updates family.
Birthday shoutouts on Tobago Updates, sponsored by KFC.
From the experts that created the Zinger sandwich comes the KFC Crispy Barbecue Zinger.
The only one I see is you.
Cheddar cheese, crispy onions, the most delicious Kentucky Fried Chicken, and barbecue sauce. Get ready for a whole new level of flavor.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome back indeed. Yesterday we would have had some, a presentation, a press briefing by the secretary with responsibility for the Division of Education, Secretary Zorisha Hackett, speaking to C 2023. Your thoughts?
What stood out for me, Julian, was the fact that for the first time in a very long time, our boys outperformed the girls at 6 schools in Tobago, and I think that is noteworthy. All right, because we have seen over the years, that the girls have been outperforming the boys, and to see that, I mean, this is what it took for coming out of the pandemic. We take it. But I was really happy to see that the boys had improved. We want to see that level as well at the CSEC and Cape. That sort of outcome at the CSEC and Cape levels as well.
I think I was also particularly pleased with, I think it is Project Impact, where it is the students who have not necessarily been able to be, at that above 30 performance, having the opportunity having the opportunity come July, August, where they will be provided with that additional support. Because in some instances, students develop and they progress at different rates. And I'm really looking forward to the continuation of this effort, which began and I know that this is one of the initiatives really being piloted very heavily by the Division of Education. So we're looking forward to seeing what's the outcome of the results. It was particularly pleasing as well to know, of course, just as has been the case at the national level, that we are seeing improvements. We are seeing improvements at, as much as they may not be as drastic as we would like, it's steps in the right direction, and I am trusting that we can really consistently put in the kind of effort. And I know the cry far and wide, whether it is the THA, whether it is the central government, is the necessary funding to make these things happen. But I'm really trusting that both at the Tobago House of Assembly level and at the level of central government, that we will make the necessary, investment in education, because critical at that, it is the foundation that will certainly give our students, our children, our young people that kind of running start in this life. That academic background, that skills training, and those things that will enable them to earn an honest income as part of their growth and development. So really and truly, we look forward to having some more detailed discussions with the Division of Education, the Secretary, the Assistant Secretary, and so as we speak to the direction that we are heading in terms of the way forward, that future pathway with regards to education in Tobago. I was also happy to hear the mention of the fact, considerations with the C examination, and if there comes a time, it might be something to be looked at. I mean, that has been talked about for some time.
Yes.
It's left to be seen whether or not this is an area that this administration would look into, in a very serious way, doing the necessary consultation, the necessary research, etc., to make a determination as to whether this is the best method or mechanism for placement, because we've moved away from identification of top students, whether at Tobago or the national level, but whether this is the best mechanism to facilitate placement.
Most definitely. And I know we spoke to the Minister of Education, Dr. Nayan Gatsby-Dolly, quite recently, just about a week or so ago, and she did speak on the issue. And we've been hearing about it for a number of years. In fact, in my time, it was called Common Entrance. We've moved past that phase into SEA. And so whether or not this is the best way to place students at the next level, secondary level, is left to be seen. This, however, is what seems to have been working. So we'll see.
We'll see where it goes from there. All right, and on our rundown this morning, we look forward to starting the discussions with Dr. Bishnu Raghunath, a political scientist at the University of the West Indies, and he's a lecturer at the University of the West Indies. And this morning we'll be discussing local government elections, and more specifically the Code of Ethical Political Conduct. All right, we are in that time nationally where we're preparing in August to head into the local government elections taking place in Trinidad. And we'll start the discussions this morning with Dr. Bishnu Raghunath.
And we continue this morning chatting with Petal Daniel Benoit, and she's the Minority Councillor for the Tobago House of Assembly. And the focus is again on the THA budget 2023-2024, the minorities' response.
And we'll also be chatting this morning with John Procco, environmental activist. And we're speaking about my swim from Tobago to Trinidad. All right, so that's just to give you a little insight into what's happening on the rundown this morning, viewers. And a quick shout out to those joining us online. I see Cindy in the mix, Katie, also in the lineup, Alicia, Portia, Julia, Candice, our very own host there, Candice, joining us in the lineup this morning, Lisa James, QQ Melville. Good morning to each and every one of you. We want to thank you so much for the continued love and support, and for choosing the Tobago Updates morning show, and to remind you that this is your opportunity to share the live as we head on into Tobago in Focus.
Exciting things are happening in sport in Tobago, particularly within the Sport in Education unit of the Division of Education, Research and Technology. This unit aims to expose primary school students to various sports within the school year at their schools and is responsible for enhancing these skills. Sport in Education Unit Sport Officer 1 Marcus Daniel and Asha Legal explained 90% out of the 40 Tobago primary schools participate in the program.
At the schools level, that's the foundation. The athletes are actually learning. They dabble in different sporting disciplines. Sometimes you see an athlete doing track and field and really good. Then you see them doing football. Then you see them doing cricket. And at this level, it's just about sport for all and about participation. And you also find scouts and some clubs and some coaches will be at these events looking to scout athletes for their clubs. And we as a sport and education unit, we welcome clubs taking these talented athletes into their club to enhance what we put out there on a yearly basis in terms of events.
Football, track and field, cricket and netball are the sports offered at this time, but students will have the opportunity to participate in a lot more sporting disciplines in the future, according to Ms. Legal.
I didn't hear anybody mention swimming. Is swimming not on the list of these
well,
disciplines?
due to the fact that it's going to be reintroduced, Hopefully soon. We actually intend to add a few new sports to the roster. We just can't reveal it yet until it's released.
Apart from the usual football and cricket,
there are some new ones that are going to be added, so that is something to look forward to.
And I think widening the gap here, widening the play field for our young players.
Let's give them different opportunities.
The United Nations Rights of the Child specifies the right to play and recreation, and many children have taken their newfound love of sport to gain success on the club level, representing Trinidad and Tobago on national teams, and even attaining scholarships. The Sport in Education Unit assures that no child within the Tobago educational system will be left behind.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. In this segment, we are happy to welcome on set Petal Daniel Benoit, a minority councillor for the Tobago House of Assembly. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Julian.
And how are you doing this morning?
I am wonderful. It's good to be here this morning.
All right, great. So this morning we're chatting THA budget 2023-2024. Some know Petal in the context of her social work and so on, GCI and other organizations. Some know her now as the minority councillor. But yes, folks, she also has that financial background, working in the sector for a number of years. And therefore, Petal, I want to start with you from the perspective of gaining an understanding of what is, quote unquote, that ideal process of preparation going towards a budget. I know you formed part of what might have been that technical background and experience coming from the financial sector. What do you consider that ideal pathway in getting to the preparation of a budget before we even begin to discuss what would have been presented?
Thank you so much, Julian. So I would share my experience as a technical officer back in the Division of Finance. And generally speaking, the budget process will be triggered by what we call a call circular. And a call circular is basically instructions issued to divisions indicating to them that estimates are required, how they should prepare the estimates, a format, what basis upon the estimate should be. So be it Vision 2030, be it the vision for the Tobago House of Assembly, be it your overarching vision for your division. So there are line items, and each division will have particular line items based on the departments. So you prepare the estimates grounded on what your vision, your overarching vision is. And of course, you will have consultations with different sectors because you want your budget to be informed by the sectors. So whether it be agriculture sector, the tourism sector, you engage your stakeholders so that as far as possible, you have a wide consultation and your budget sort of touches on the requirements for most of the sectors as far as you see fit. So the budget is really your vision of the development for the island, and it must be grounded upon something. So when the divisions would have presented their estimates to the Division of Finance through the budget department, they will also look at all the divisions' estimates. And because the Division of Finance has the bird's eye view, then they will bring it down. Because, of course, every division will want their ideal estimate, but we have finite financial resources. So the Division of Finance, through the Budget Department, they will collate and they will determine, based on the overarching objective, what the estimates will look by division, line item by line item. And obviously your statement should then show an overarching vision, and then the secretaries in their debate, because if the chief secretary is to say everything that they would want to do, we will not have to stay there for probably several days. So the secretaries now will elaborate a little more, give an oversight of what they would have done with the resources that they were given for the particular financial year, and of course share what they intend to do with the resources that they would like for the upcoming financial year. So just summarizing what the process looked like.
So having heard the presentation this year, coming from this current administration, second time around, your thoughts in relation to the request put forward to central government?
So my thoughts, The request seems quite unrealistic, taking in mind all that the THA would have received in the past. And why I say unrealistic, one, the peg upon which the national budget was made. So again, it's a 6.9% based on over $60 billion budget, national budget. And if you look to the national budgets, this administration, this PNM administration, since coming into office in 2015, their budget has been declining. So 2015, we had a $64 billion budget. 2016, 63, 2017, 53, 2018, 50, 2019, 51, 2020, 53, 2021, 49. And the budgets have been reducing over time. So one, I don't think that the budget, based on the trend of this administration, this PNM central government, I don't think that the national budget may be at what it is pegged based on the budget. Additionally, we have been getting more to the lower end of the DRC resolution, and I don't think that what is requested will be based on the past trends.
So you're seeing an obvious situation where the revision of estimates is probably going to have to be the usual process, aggressively trying to adjust to meet what we actually receive?
Yes, because generally we go back to the House in November because the budget is normally read at the end of September, beginning of October. So the next time that the THA has to return to do their reallocation will be in November. So yes, I anticipate that what we requested is not what we will get. And generally speaking, because remember, everybody is seeking a piece of this national pie. Everybody will want their ideal situation. But again, because the resources are finite, then everybody will not necessarily get what they want, but they will get what they need to take them through the financial year. So yes, I based on the trend, I do believe that we will have to go back to do the reallocation to an allocation that we will normally get somewhere around $2 billion, 2.3, 2.1, $2.4 billion.
So we have seen where certainly the Chief Secretary, by way of his presentation, spoke extensively about a number of areas: infrastructure development, looking at community development, the tourism sector, etc. Do you think that these are realistic projections coming out from both his initial presentation as well as the follow-up discussions that have taken place and the debate that has taken place in the House?
No, I don't see some of the things as realistic. And I want to go back to his first budget statement last year. And one of the things that the minority would have pointed out from the onset last year is the unrealistic goal or objective of one of the divisions in particular, and that was housing. So last year, there was an aggressive objective to produce 1,000 service lots and over 700 housing units. We would have indicated, the budget statement also indicated that they will start their housing program planning sometime in the second quarter. So based on the breakdown, they were anticipating to have 250 houses in one financial year because the 1,000 was over their 4-year period. We said to them, we find that to be unrealistic, particularly that you have not started your housing planning program as yet. Additionally, where is the funding coming from? Because when you look at the estimates, the estimate was at variance with what the statement said. When we brought it up in our debate, the secretary indicated to us, watch him work. We would have looked on and we did not see this materializing of the 250 houses and the 750 or the unrealistic number. And again, what we have seen a similar occurrence coming back in this estimate. So they would have taken off a year and they would have reduced the housing units to something like 800, or housing lots to like 800, and they also reduced the houses to something like 600 or 750, like that. We are saying again it is unrealistic. One, where are you getting funding from to engage in the development? Two, is it realistic that you, based on your past trend, that you can actually do what you say that you would have done? So that is just an example of how unrealistic we find some of the things in the statement and also in the estimates. What we, in terms of tourism, we are not seeing a roadmap for tourism. We are not, when the secretary came into office, the secretary spoke about how many thousands visitor arrivals that she wants. I think it was 100,000 at the end of the year, which was at the end of last year. But we have not seen what is the strategy or what is the roadmap for us to achieve this tourist arrival. So again, we are not seeing the things being put in place. We are not seeing the vision. We are not seeing the funding. We are not seeing the resources to achieve the goals that are set out in the budgets and in the estimates.
How do you respond to those that make the comment and would probably put forward, it's not uncommon for budgets to speak of a very lofty hope and expectation. It's almost the equivalence of a political campaign before an election. Politicians give you the very best, and then you kind of hope to meet that objective in some way, form, or fashion, even if there's no clear projection. Is there a fundamental difference happening this time around, or is this following what is a standard pattern?
No, I don't see it as a fundamental difference. But what I see is that while this administration was on the other side, particularly some of the players that were on the minority, they had certain comments that they were making throughout a budget statement and throughout a budget period. So again, we have the chief secretary, who is now the Secretary of Finance, on Hansard, indicating we would have done this over and over and over and over again. And there was one particular budget debate where he would have gone through over a number of years and quoted the requests and the allocation. And he would have indicated, since this has been the past precedent, why do you now want to ask for a $4 billion budget when you have seen in the past that we have not received that? And he would have gone on and described so many reasons why we would not get it. Now you are sitting in the chair, then I would anticipate, based on your past utterances, that we should be seeing something different, because you came into office on the mantra that you will fix it. So we don't anticipate to see a continuation of what would have happened in the past. You would have had all the recommendations when you were sitting on the outside. We anticipate now that you have the responsibility, show us and implement what you said that you will do. That's all.
So there's some that believe, and you know, we had the minority leader on before speaking similarly to the budget, and there was some conversations that came up past that, and there's some that have the belief that the Tobago Council of the People's National Movement is not in support of Tobago getting more funds. They're not in support of Tobago being able to advance that development agenda. I want you to bring some clarity to that position when these views are expressed in relation to the concerns regarding this current budget and the expectations.
No, that is not true at all, because remember, it was under the PNM administration that we had the widespread consultation as it relates to the autonomy bill. And then there were all the parties coming together. We saw Mr. Ho Choi Chaz, we saw different persons, the PNM. I think it Mr. Ashworth Jack would have started, and then he dropped off somewhere along the way. But we saw parties coming together for the interests of Tobago. We also saw where, based on the recommended bill that is now before the Parliament at committee stage, that the recommended allocation in terms of the lowest tranche would have increased to 6.9 or 6.8%, I think. So again, and that was based on consultation, and that was based on the discussions with the people. So to say that the People's National Movement does not want increased allocation is not an accurate statement. And of course we want increased allocation, because in terms of furthering the development agenda of the island, the PNM wants what is good for Tobago. Yes?
Do you think we can safely wait on or rely on, and you know, it doesn't matter which administration sits in Tobago, can we rely on simply an allocation from central government to really advance the development agenda to where we need things to go in Tobago?
No. One of the things that were attempted under the last administration was to use alternative financing mechanisms. One of them was the whole issue of the bond. We have private-public partnership in the real sense. We also have multilateral agencies. And there is also a need to increase our own income in terms of income from taxes and stuff like that, how we generate that own income of the Tobago House of Assembly. One of the things when I looked in the budget and in the statement, it indicated different forms of financing mechanism. One of them, to me, is quite unrealistic. And the Chief Secretary would have indicated that there were funds that was owing in the past based on what the allocation was versus what was received from the Ministry of Finance. And that was one means of financing the budget. But a question was posed to the Minister of Finance by the independent senator. And basically what the Minister of Finance is saying that in those years, there were significant declines in terms of our revenues, so we had to reduce the overall budget. He also indicated that the likelihood, and Tobago was not the only area that would have suffered a decline in what was proposed in terms of budgetary allocation. And when he compared the cut that was made by Tobago for Tobago versus the cut from other ministries, Tobago was significantly less than the cut from other ministries. So what we are saying is that in this instance, to indicate that monies owing from the Ministry of Finance would form part of the financing mechanism is quite unrealistic, because based on the comments from the Minister of Finance, it is unlikely that we will receive that funding. So again, there are several means of funding the budget. We have to be innovative, we have to be proactive. Right now, we are seeing in the main the allocation from central government, but there are other means of financing the budget. And we just need to be innovative.
All right. Your closing comments before we wrap up this morning.
In the budget statement, a lot of areas were lacking. One, in terms of comparative information, we would have seen no comparative information for the previous year. So the Chief Secretary would have quoted 2022 figures, but what happened in 2021? So there was no information to compare the performance of this administration. The Chief Secretary would have received some allocation in, I guess, 2022. We have not seen how that allocation was utilized. We did not see, or we do not know, what is the recurrent expenditure, what is the development expenditure, how much you spend on CPEP, how much you spend on URP, what is your unspent balance. So all that financial information about what you would have utilized the resources in the year that you were there were clearly missing from the estimates. And we are hoping that going forward, we will see greater accountability and greater transparency as was promised. We would also see that the estimate is anchored on something. But yes, we want to be the greatest little island. But how are we going to be the greatest little island? What is involved in being the greatest little island? We welcome collaboration, but what we are also saying, your posture right now does not augur well for collaboration. And in the estimates, in the budget statement, the Chief Secretary spoke about meaningfully collaborating with the central government. But how you could collaborate when you're customer every Monday morning? So we are just saying, change your action, settle down to governance, come up with an overarching vision that clearly sets out the development agenda of the island, and report to the people. Greater accountability and transparency as you would have promised.
Thank you very much there, Petal Daniel Benoit, Minority Councillor. A gentle reminder out there calling on this administration to settle down to governance and giving that assurance that the People's National Movement is certainly about more for Tobago, and even that further reminder of they're not opposed to collaboration at all. So we're really looking forward to that kind of commitment that sees at the end of the day, as I'm sure we would all want to see, Tobago being able to derive a maximum benefit within this current relation in the Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you very much, Minority Councillor Petal Daniel Benoit, for joining us on set this morning. Viewers, we have coming up next in the mix, we're going to be chatting with Dr. Bishnu Raghunath. We look forward to those discussions. All right, quick update in the mix. John Proko will be chatting with coming up environmental activists as we speak My Swim from Tobago to Trinidad. All right, and viewers, we remind you at this point that this is your opportunity to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Are you flood ready? Review and update insurance coverage. Install floodgates and barriers. Create a family flood plan. An initiative to help people prevent, prepare, recover. TATIL, where people are people.
Come one, come all. It's time to join in the Tobago Heritage Festival 2023. Homage. All are we and all are who we be. To Tobago. Indulge in the awesomeness that is embodied in the spirit of Tobago at the 36th Tobago Heritage Festival. Celebrate a rich, vibrant, hypnotic showcase of our cultural legacy. Yes, from July 21st to August 1st, 2023. Take the island tour. Sample the sumptuous variety of local indigenous delicacies. Enjoy the recreation of old-time village life. Dance to the drum. Feel the rhythm of steel pan. Experience the way of life, languages, and oral traditions. Be part of the journey to our we heritage, honoring our past, celebrating our present, and inspiring our future. Relive our unique culture. Join in the preservation of the heritage of we island of Tobago.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up and low, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up and low. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show.
Inner Health, number 13B, Portmore, Scarborough, Tobago, with over 25 years experience, offering services in and not limited to microscopic blood analysis, reflexology, and the sale of a wide range of organic herbal products used to supplement thyroid, lymphatic, heart, kidney, and brain health, and the male and female reproductive systems. Come and chat with us. Remember, your health is your wealth.
Are you flood ready? Recycle and properly dispose of large waste. Avoid sweeping yard clippings or trash into drains. Plant trees to avoid soil erosion. An initiative to help people prevent, prepare, recover. TATIL, where people are people.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
Jimmy's Holiday Resorts has 1, 2, and 3 bedroom, fully self-contained apartments located at the heart of Crown Point. Minutes walk to the popular beaches, restaurants, bars, and the airport. Enjoy our amazing amenities such as fully equipped apartments, complete with Wi-Fi, AC, TV, and a pool, and a mini-mart on the compound. Call 639-8292 or 8929. Jimmy's Holiday Resorts is your family's home away from home. Full disclosure with the executive every Thursday at 8 p.m. only on Tobago Updates. Real questions and honest conversations with the sole aim of keeping you fully in the know. Full disclosure with the executive every Thursday at 8 p.m. only on Tobago Updates.
Coconut's Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, bull joil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meat served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules or if you are having a cooking day off.
Everybody only worrying. Never ever worry. Don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry. If your nice car get damaged bad, I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. Don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry. If your house get flooded out real bad, I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. If sickness catch you off guard, I tell them never ever worry. If times fall on you real hard, I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil will always be here for you.
Never worry about a thing. Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning.
Viewers, welcome back this morning to the Tobago Updates morning show. We are chatting with Mr. John Prokop, who is an environmental activist. And this morning, viewers, we're talking about my swim from Tobago to Trinidad, or possibly from Trinidad to Tobago. Good morning, welcome to you, John Prokop.
Good morning.
It's good to have you on the program. Let's talk about your background here before we get into the meat of things. Yes, you're planning a swim from Trinidad to Tobago, or possibly from Tobago to Trinidad. Yes. But tell us about your background in this particular sport.
Well, I've always been a swimmer, and I've always loved swimming. But recently, I've taken up swimming at the master's level. So I train at the YMCA pool under the tutelage of Coach Rochelle Pear and Coach Mosey Denoon. And they have a fantastic program over at the YMCA. This is Tobago Aqua Warriors swim team. And through that training, I've gotten more and more involved with swimming and triathlon. And I started doing long swims in the sea a few years ago. because I had heard of a legend of a slave who escaped a plantation in Tobago and swam across the sea to Trinidad. We're not exactly sure how he was able to accomplish this. There are many sort of different details of the legend. Some say he floated across on a raft made of coconuts strung together with fishing net, and that was what he was able to float on, and that was what he was able to drink in order to make it over. I'm going to attempt to do this swim with a couple of guide boats, and they will be providing me with refreshments every 45 minutes. So I will have support of some kind. But this is the story that initially inspired me to do the swim.
Okay. Yeah. Now, a few years back, you did make an attempt.
Actually, that was last year, in September.
Okay.
Myself and William Carr and Patrick Leloy and Roger Watts made an attempt. And we made it about 45 kilometers. But unfortunately, we were thwarted by unfavorable sea conditions.
Okay, so we only know of one other person who attempted this, and this would have been Watson Duke a few years ago, attempting to swim from Tobago to Trinidad. Didn't make it.
I think this was a very different type of swim.
We'll be hoping.
Yes. There was a gentleman who made several attempts and claimed to have completed it successfully on one occasion. But unfortunately, he doesn't have any evidence to support his claim. So my intention is to try and make it successfully and have the evidence to prove that I've done it. We're going to be filming the endeavor. We're going to be taking photos. Maybe, if we're lucky, we'll have drone as well as underwater footage, footage from the boats and the waterline. But my aim is to use this swim as, since I am an advocate for marine conservation, I would like to use this swim as an opportunity to raise awareness of the devastating impacts of climate change and pollution and overfishing on our oceans. And so that's really what I'd like to highlight by doing this swim. And I would also like to encourage the government and the corporations of Trinidad and Tobago to support our young athletes, especially in Learn to Swim programs. And then, of course, when representing the country internationally.
Okay, now you are embarking upon this swim from Tobago to Trinidad or Trinidad to Tobago.
Yes. This is going to depend on the sea conditions.
That's what I was just about to ask.
You see, we want to learn from our mistakes the last time. And the last time, although we were familiar with the patterns of the currents and the winds, we did not take into consideration that those would be fluid and changing.
Right.
And so, unfortunately for us, we planned the swim on exactly the same day as Hurricane Fiona passed by Tobago. So we didn't have the best sea conditions for that. But on this occasion, if we have certain currents going in certain directions, it would be better to start the swim in Toco and swim back to Tobago. But the actual plan is to start the swim at Bacalet Beach and swim to Trinidad.
What point in Trinidad?
We do not pick a point at which we will land.
wherever
we
you
start on Bacalet Beach and we will go basically in a southerly trajectory for approximately 11 to 13 kilometers. And then we will turn southwest, or I will turn southwest, and hopefully the current will assist me in getting to Trinidad from there. But that's just a very, very basic plan.
And this is upon the guidance of those who would be...
This is upon the guidance of my navigator.
Yes.
I have a very good team this year who are very experienced and knowledgeable about the currents and all of the sea conditions. And so my navigator will make that decision for me based on what the sea conditions look like the day before the swim. And then we'll decide whether we're starting in Toco or starting in Bacalet. But obviously, we intend on making it all the way across the ocean channel between the two islands for the first time officially.
Okay. My question is why this particular time of the year? Because we're fully well into the rainy season.
Yes.
And hurricanes are more a possibility now than the earlier part of the year. Why now?
Well, that's a great question. Last year we did it in September.
Right.
And that was in hurricane season. The thing is,
even more into.
Yes, hurricane season it's tricky because it's very often the calmest time with the slackest currents, so the best swimming conditions, except when a storm comes. So doing it in August gives us a bit more of a chance to get it right as far as the sea conditions go, because there's less chance of the hurricanes coming and messing things up. But at the end of the day, the real reason is because it's just changed from dry season to rainy season. The rain very often stops a lot of the wind, and with less wind, the currents are a lot less strong. And at the end of the day, no matter how experienced of a swimmer you are or how competent you are as an endurance athlete, there is no way that you can make a swim like this from Trinidad to Tobago or Tobago to Trinidad unless you are using nature to your advantage.
But is this a swim for, are those dolphins?
Yes, those are
That's
dolphins.
right.
We saw dolphins, we saw lots of marine life on our swim in September last year.
Now, is this for competition or is this?
No. This is not for competition.
Because I'm looking at the four of you swimming here, and
we're not racing.
You're not racing. You're trying to keep together.
We were supporting one another, swimming together. On this occasion, I will be doing the swim solo.
Okay.
So it'll be just me. One of my very good friends from the last attempt, William Carr, he will be joining me as a support swimmer. He may not be doing the whole swim with me. Maybe not the portion in the nighttime, but maybe in the daytime. We're not sure entirely how much swimming he'll do yet, but he will be my support swimmer.
All right. Now, we would certainly love to chat with you after this swim. We'd love to know what the experience was like for you. So
Absolutely.
we will keep in touch, and we will be able to hear from you after the swim. Remind our viewers this morning of when all of this is happening.
Okay, the date is the 10th of August, but we're not sticking to that date. Because if we stuck to that date, then we would not have learned our lesson very well from last year. So what we're doing is we're using the 10th of August as the approximate date based on the tide time and also the moon phase. And then we will see what the conditions are like in the couple of days before the date. And if things are perfect, a day or two before the 10th, then we'll go on that date.
All right. Is there a way that the public can assist? Is there any way that we can help make this dream a reality?
That would be amazing. I've received quite a lot of support so far, but anyone who is willing to support is very much encouraged to do so. You can contact me at 377-7908, and I will be launching an ad on social media. So people who are on Facebook and Instagram, which, by the way, I am not.
You're not on social media?
No, I'm not on social media at all. But people who are on social media...
Someone asked, how do you survive? But okay.
Well, quite well, actually. But people who are on social media will be able to follow the progress of the preparation and, of course, learn more about the swim. And we're hoping to have a live feed on the day as well as a GPS tracking so that people will be able to see how far I've reached. But it's a long haul. We're expecting a 15-hour swim at best, maybe 20 hours, and who knows, maybe more, depending on what the currents do.
And what is your start time?
Start time should be 11 p.m. on Thursday, the 10th of August, if we stick to that day, starting on high tide, which is the best time to start. The best opportunity to get away from Tobago before the currents start to increase in strength when the sun comes up.
At that hour, that time?
The thing is, when the sun comes up, the wind begins to increase.
Right.
And with the wind, the currents increase, because obviously current is caused by wind.
Yeah.
So that's the plan. But it may be completely different on the actual day, depending on what day we choose. But that is the plan. I should be swimming the first 6 or 7 hours in the night.
Okay, well, we wish you all the best. And again, we'd love to chat with you after the swim.
Yes.
After you survived.
Well,
okay.
Hopefully, yes. And after I have not only survived, but after I have been triumphant.
That's right. That's right, indeed. So all the best to you again. And we want to thank you for being on the program this morning.
Thank you very much for having me.
A pleasure
Appreciate
indeed.
it.
Well, viewers, we're going to leave it here for today. We want to thank you so much for joining us this morning for the Tobago Updates morning show. We are going to be heading over at this time into Tobago Notes. And again, have a great day. Stay safe. And over to Tobago Notes and GMT. Bye-bye, everybody.
The effects of marijuana on users was one of the major topics participants learned about during the 4th annual Substance Misuse Symposium hosted by the Alcohol and Drug Abuse Prevention Program, ADAP. Dr. Cherish Allen, who's attached to the Mental Health Unit of the DRHA, explained the effects of marijuana on the body, effects which can eventually lead to dependence on this drug.
So it has something in mental health that we call cannabis use disorder. In short, cannabis use disorder is actually addiction to cannabis. Many people that I have met who use cannabis, like people on the ward, they tend to say, yeah, but I'm not addicted, doc. I could stop anytime I want. But as soon as you're out of hospital, it's right back to the marijuana again. You'll find that you always find a reason that you need to use it. It's like, yeah, I could stop it, but I need it for this. That in itself is an addiction and a dependence on the substance.
This year's theme, as the Secretary would have indicated, is People First, Stop Stigma and Discrimination, Strengthen Prevention. The campaign aims to combat stigma and discrimination against substance misusers by promoting language and attitudes that are respectful and non-judgmental.
How do you withstand the fact that the entire room is calling you a bad name because you are the only one who does not want to take that sip of alcohol or does not want to smoke that joint or whatever it is? It means actually giving people the skills to withstand those shocks that happen within our lives. So I am happy that ADAP continues to do the work that is required to ensure that young people like you young people in the room get the skills.
ADAP's symposium was held in commemoration of the United Nations International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
Right now, Tobagonians are just currying down to Bon Accord
right in Stowbay Local Road. You know why? To come down and shop at Authentic Builders General Hardware, the only hardware store in Tobago that is giving you guys Trinidad prices. So for instance, such as steel, 1/2 and 5/8, $7,895. 5/8 construction ply for $260. Every single thing that you will need to do your home renovation or start your new construction, we have it right here. And to get your quotation, it's very easy. Just WhatsApp us at 272-1990 and we will do your free WhatsApp quotation for you.
From the experts that created the Zinger sandwich comes the KFC Crispy Barbecue Zinger.
The only one I see is you.
Cheddar cheese, crispy onions, the most delicious Kentucky Fried Chicken, and barbecue sauce. Get ready for a whole new level of flavor.
Are you flood ready? Review and update insurance coverage. Install floodgates and barriers. Create a family flood plan. An initiative to help people prevent, prepare, recover. Tatil, where people are people.
Come one, come all. It's time to join in the Tobago Heritage Festival 2023. Homage. All are we and all are who we be. To Tobago. Indulge in the awesomeness that is embodied in the spirit of Tobago at the 36th Tobago Heritage Festival. Celebrate a rich, vibrant, hypnotic showcase of our cultural legacy. Yes, from July 21st to August 1st, 2023. Take the island tour. Sample the sumptuous variety of local indigenous delicacies. Enjoy the recreation of old-time village life. Dance to the drum. Feel the rhythm of steel pan. Experience the way of life, languages, and oral traditions. Be part of the journey to our we heritage, honoring our past, celebrating our present, and inspiring our future. Relive our unique culture. Join in the preservation of the heritage of we island of Tobago.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show.
Inner Health, number 13B, Portmore, Scarborough, Tobago, with over 25 years experience, offering services in and not limited to microscopic blood analysis, reflexology, and the sale of a wide range of organic herbal products used to supplement thyroid, lymphatic, heart, kidney, and brain health, and the male and female reproductive systems. Come and chat with us. Remember, your health is your wealth.
Are you flood ready? Recycle and properly dispose of large waste. Avoid sweeping yard clippings or trash into drains. Plant trees to avoid soil erosion. An initiative to help people prevent, prepare, recover. Tatil, where people are people.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
Jimmy's Holiday Resorts has 1, 2, and 3 bedroom, fully self-contained apartments located at the heart of Crown Point. Minutes walk to the popular beaches, restaurants, bars, and the airport. Enjoy our amazing amenities such as fully equipped apartments, complete with Wi-Fi, AC, TV, and a pool, and a mini-mart on the compound. Call 639-8292 or 8929. Jimmy's Holiday Resorts is your family's home away from home.
Yeah. Hey. Tobago updates.
Good morning, and welcome to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. Guys, you know, whenever you see me here, it's because we're about to have those conversations that you want to have to get your morning started. And I'm going to ask those questions that you want asked. But before we get into this morning's conversation, we're going to kick it off with your news in 90 seconds. Tobago students experienced an improvement in SEA results when compared to the year 2022 and 2021. The Secretary of Education, Research and Technology, Zorisha Hackett, provided an analysis of the scores yesterday at a press conference. She explained that when compared to the national average score of 199 points, the average mean score of girls in Tobago was only 3 points lower, while it was 7 points lower for boys. Additionally, out of 1,048 students writing the exam, only 159 scored below the 30%. Additionally, the national flour mills reduced the price of flour by 10%. The price reduction followed global trends of falling prices over the past few weeks. Along with keeping an eye on these prices, CEO Ian Mitchell stated that the cost of goods and other output contributed to this drop. He stated that they believe with the stabilization of costs, they can now pass on savings to their customers. Mitchell added that the National Farmer Mills pricing decision will always have the short, medium, and long-term goal of providing customers with the best quality products for a safe, quality food certified flour producer at the most competitive price. And finally, Trinidad and Tobago received a positive rating from the international rating agency Moody Investors Services. Trinidad and Tobago BA2 rating remains unchanged, but the country's overall outlook has shifted from stable to positive. According to a statement issued by the Minister of Finance on Monday, Finance Minister Colin Imbert stated he is encouraged by the improved outlook because it recognizes the positive outcome the country's efforts to mitigate negative effects of the COVID-19 pandemic and declining energy revenue has had. And this was your news in 90 seconds, brought to you by Flo.
The news in 90 seconds is brought to you by Flow, working for you on Tobago's newest fiber network.
Tobago, after freeness is more speed and better TV. Get a free Samsung smartphone and free installation, plus 200 megabits per second, Paramount Plus, and more for only $299 with a select 200 plan from Flow. Visit online at discoverflow.co today.
Good morning and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago, guys. As we kick off this morning's conversations, you know that we are in a season of election, not here in Tobago, but in Trinidad, there is the local government election that is going to be happening in August. And so a lot of things that happen around election time. And one of the things that come into question is the conduct, the ethics, the morals of politicians. And recently, we saw that the code of conduct for elections has been released. And so this morning we're going to chat a bit about that with no other than a political scientist and lecturer, Bishnu Raghunath. So we're talking about campaign issues and adherence to the Code of Ethical Political Conduct for 2023. And this has to do, again, with the local government elections happening in Trinidad. Good morning, Dr. Raghunath, and how are you?
Good morning. I'm fine, thank you, and it's a pleasure to be here once more on your TV station and talking to the population in Tobago.
It's a pleasure to have you as well. So we're seeing that the local government election is happening on the 14th of August, which is pretty soon. And one of the things that always come into question when we think about election is, number one, the freeness and fairness of the election, accessibility, but also the code of ethics and conduct for politicians. So let's talk a bit about some of the things that we have seen in the past and what we can possibly expect out of the upcoming local government election.
But basically, what we have seen in the past, and in fact, we have seen that the campaigning literally has been one that has deteriorated or had deteriorated significantly, and because of such deterioration, when we talk about deterioration, where it became personal, where we were talking about mudslinging, and rather than dealing with issues and smear campaigns and all of those things that could be unethical. In 2014, as a matter of fact, civil society in Trinidad organized and developed a code which they got the major political parties to sign on to. And they did. And not only the political parties in Trinidad, in fact, for the 2017 T2 elections, I was in Tobago. We got the political parties to sign on the code there. And again, we did so in 2021. In January 2021, we were again in Tobago on your TV station, where we had a public signing where all the political parties signed on to the code. So the code is now being recognized as being something that political parties are taking seriously, or at least should be taken seriously. But the question is simply that there are instances when there are violations to the code, when there are breaches to the code. And when that happens, it is our responsibility to call upon the respective political parties to pull up their socks, so to speak, and to do better, and to make sure that we have a campaign that Trinidad and Tobago could say that, yes, it was a decent campaign, it was an ethical campaign. We know there's a challenge. We know there's a culture in Trinidad and Tobago, a culture of Movilang and Pekong and so on. And whereas that is the culture, we would like to keep the bacchanal out of the politics. We want the politicians to start talking issues. We want these politicians to focus on the critical concerns of the citizenry and not on the personalities of their competitors and so on, as well as to make sure that the country after the election remains a country that people are happy with. There's unity in our diversity and those sorts of things. And so we don't want divisiveness, we don't want hatred coming out in a campaign, which is easy to come out in a campaign. And that's where the code of ethical political conduct comes in. And we, the members of the Council for Responsible Political Behavior, has been asked to monitor the adherence to that code.
Right. And in the Council of Responsible Political Behavior, how do you guys really enforce this code? And what are the implications when parties or individuals violate this code?
Now, we have remember I started off by saying that we are a civil society-based organization. So we have no power of sanction. We have no control, no punitive measures, nothing like that. What we do and what we can do is simply we could bring to the population's uh, sight the instances when politicians and political parties may have breached the code. Now, bear in mind that we did that that political parties, at least the leadership of the political parties, voluntarily signed on to a code. If they voluntarily signed on to a code, our concern here is simply to show the population, well, look, these are the people who are coming to you and asking you for your vote. If, however, they have signed on to a code and they have now deliberately breached or violated that code, how much trust can you put in them? And you have to be the one who will have to decide that. We cannot tell you to vote for this one or vote for that one. We're not telling you that. We're not going to impose any punitive measure, but we are going to bring to the fore in the public's eye where breaches do occur, and we let the population determine whether those breaches could be deemed to be acceptable to the voting population, and the voting population would then determine the fate of those who breach the code.
Right, and it says that, and under the prohibited conduct section, it states that not use language or act in a way that not use language or act in a way that may provoke violence, intimidate candidates, members of the party's representatives, or supporters of a party or candidate, or invite or encourage or foster hatred, resentment, or any form of violence. What are some other areas that the Council of Responsible Political Behavior is restricting or encouraging candidates to stay clear of?
Well, basically, apart from language, there's a whole thing of how you carry yourself. In fact, your behavior, whether your posters, your banners, all of those things must be decent, must be one that encourages harmony. It must, we do not promote mudslinging, divisiveness. We do not promote using state resources for campaigning on a party level. We, in fact, tell the, and when I say we, the code literally tells the population what is acceptable behavior and what is not acceptable behavior. So you will not, for instance, expect a smear campaign, or we're into this period when we talk about all the different letters of the alphabet, the LGBTQ, and so on. We have people of all beliefs and opinions, and we must respect people. We must respect people's property. So, for instance, a simple thing: do you simply just go and paste up your posters and on your billboards on people's property? Can you just do whatever you want? No, the simple answer is you have to respect that we live in a civil society, and you are going to operate in the context of a civil society and do things not to impact negatively on your neighbors and on your community, but to make sure that at the end of the day, our country remains or sees itself for the better.
Excellent. And so, what we want to look at the elections holistically. And so, how important is this upcoming local government elections for the two key political parties, especially as it relates to the next general elections?
Now, I am to be careful here, because when you invited me on the show this morning, you invited me to speak as chairman of the code of the Council for Responsible Political Behavior. I am also a political scientist, which I could speak wearing that hat. But wearing the hat of the chairman of the Council for Responsible Political Behavior, I will not want to talk about political parties and how they're going to, how the election campaign is going to go about there. What I could talk about is simply what the council is about, because I make this point simply because it is not difficult and it is not far-fetched for people to simply say, Raghunath is chairman of the council and Raghunath supporting this party or that party or giving. And we want to be fair in how people view the council's actions. I would say this too also in terms of the last week when we got an official complaint to the council. People were calling me and asking me, what's your opinion? And I said, no, it is a matter before the council and I will let the council rule on it. So I am very careful. I don't want to mix rules. So if, for instance, you are telling me that our interview here as chairman of the council is completed and no longer relevant to the rest of this discussion, then I could probably talk about the politics.
Right, because I want to get into a general discussion on the overall local government election, because another one of my questions has to do with the idea of having international observers. So I don't know if you could take off your responsible political behavior council hat and kind of get into Professor Dr. Vishnu Raghunath and kind of give us an idea of ethically, how do you see the call for international observers and it being denied by the Prime Minister?
All right. So in a way, we are straddling both positions here. And I'll tell you why. Because within the code, there is reference to the need for international observers and to respect observers. And for all intents and purposes, there's absolutely no challenge in anybody saying that we should have international observers or should have observers. It doesn't necessarily have to be international. It could be local observers, where people who could be deemed to be independent, for instance, could be asked to observe the election and given the responsibility and the authority to do so. So take, for instance, and bear in mind that I have no, I am speaking on behalf of nobody in particular, but if, for instance, you have observers, whether it be national or international, if you have observers, what you are doing is you are telling yourself and you are telling the world at large, I have nothing to hide. You want to come and observe, you could observe. We will give you accreditation to observe. And accreditation would mean that we have to give you certain sorts of responsibilities and permissions and protocols and allowances. So, for instance, an observer could go into a polling station and observe what is happening and how the presiding officer and how the deputy presiding officer are treating and with the voters. But you have to have the protocols in place. You cannot simply say that you're just walking in there and don't know that is not allowed. So that's why observers are there. Now, take for instance, within the last week, for instance, we've heard that one political party complained that the Elections and Boundaries Commission denied their candidates. Now, this is something that the observers could report on, and they would now investigate what were the issues, what were the recommendations, and what actually happened, and they could report on that. And that's where the international or the observers, maybe I should just say observers, that's where the observers would come in and play a key role in how an election is conducted and how accepted the results at the end of the day will be. So there's no harm in having observers in any election. The harm, however, will come to if, however, we deny observers and causing, in fact, parties which would have contested the election to now make allegations that the election was not free and fair and so forth, and thereupon stain the country's reputation that it cannot hold a free and fair election. So that is the benefit of having observers. Whether or not we will have the observers, however, depends upon those who hold the control of the central government and who will then be able to extend the invitation outside the country if they want international observers, or to give the protocols to those who would be deemed to be observers within the country.
Excellent. And thank you so much for explaining that to us. Hopefully, we can have a general conversation with you as the political scientist soon on the local government election, because there's so many questions to be asked and so many questions that are being left unanswered. And we're seeing a lot of youth participation taking place this time around as well. But we look forward to having that conversation in the future with you very soon. And again, we want to thank you for coming on to Tobago Updates and just giving us an update on the code of ethical conduct for politicians in the upcoming local government election. Thank you, Dr. Raghunath. Guys, we're going to take a brief break and we'll be back really soon after.
Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with Candace and Denasia.
Let's go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up.
Right now, Tobagonians are just currying down to Bonaccord, right in Stobie Local Road. You know why? To come down and shop at Authentic Builders General Hardware, the only hardware store in Tobago that is giving you guys Trinidad prices. So for instance, such as steel, 1/2 inch and 5/8, $7,895. 5/8 construction ply for $260. Every single thing that you will need to do your home renovation or start your new construction, we have it right here. And to get your quotation, it's very easy. Just WhatsApp us at 272-1990 and we will do your free WhatsApp quotation for you.
From the experts that created the Zinger sandwich comes the KFC Crispy Barbecue Zinger.
The only one I see is you.
Cheddar cheese, crispy onions, the most delicious Kentucky Fried Chicken, and barbecue sauce. Get ready for a whole new level of flavor.
Are you flood ready? Review and update insurance coverage. Install floodgates and barriers. Create a family flood plan. An initiative to help people prevent, prepare, recover. TATIL, where people are people.
Come one, come all. It's time to join in the Tobago Heritage Festival 2023. Homage. All are we and all are who we be. To Tobago. Indulge in the awesomeness that is embodied in the spirit of Tobago at the 36th Tobago Heritage Festival. Celebrate a rich, vibrant, hypnotic showcase of our cultural legacy. Yes, from July 21st to August 1st, 2023. Take the island tour. Sample the sumptuous variety of local indigenous delicacies. Enjoy the recreation of old-time village life. Dance to the drum. Feel the rhythm of steel pan. Experience the way of life, languages, and oral traditions. Be part of the journey to our we heritage, honoring our past, celebrating our present, and inspiring our future. Relive our unique culture. Join in the preservation of the heritage of we island of Tobago.
Yeah.
Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago.
Good morning and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates, guys. And as we continue our conversations this morning, we're talking about poultry farming. And to have that conversation, I have with me no other than Mr. Ricardo Alfred, who is the chairman of the Tobago Agro business development company, TADCO. And this morning we're talking about poultry and contract farming. Now, last week we had a brief discussion virtually with you and your team right after you guys went before the JSC, after you guys went before the JSC. And one of the big projects that you guys are working on, I think it's $58.1 million dollars, is that mega farming project. So talk to us about how exactly that is structured for people to have a better understanding.
Right. So, right. So, good morning to all. Right. So, what is needed on the island is development. As most persons would know, that chicken is the cheapest form of protein. It's also one of the cheapest meat available for persons if they're buying meals or something like that. Just to put some numbers in perspective, globally, the world consumes 56 billion heads of chicken every year. Trinidad and Tobago is currently at 43 million chickens every year. Tobago is at 250,000 chickens per month. And that will increase because you know that school is open, you have a lot of more domestic tourism happening. So that number will increase. Just to give an idea as well of what is happening internationally, because persons are talking about the foreign chicken. When you purchase the foreign chicken, so that we put things in better perspective, at that foreign farm, the person who is doing the hatchery up there is already paid. The person who is mining the chicken is already paid. The transportation to get it to the processing in that country, they are already paid. When it is processed, they are paid. When it is shipped, the shipping fees are already paid. When it comes here, somebody is paid. I went to clear it and that type, and then it comes into the consumer hand. At no point, if we are speaking about development, we have to be able to grow the capacity right here on the island. Through the contract farming, we are able to do that. What we are doing is providing the inputs as relates to the chicken and the feed and the medicine, and so that the farmer will have a freer cash flow that he can now decide to expand and do different aspects of the farming. This farming poultry initiative definitely will open up different services that persons can get involved in. I mean, the people who are providing the transportation, the people who are providing the different equipments that needed for the poultry, the veterinary service is opening up. So there are different services that can be provided from this contract farming that can create a lot of jobs and development in the service sector. What we are saying as TADCO is that allow us to come in, you come in to us, we have a conversation related to poultry. If you have the land space and you have a little funds to spend in terms of developing a proper farm, we would give our team come in, they'll look at your farm, see what you need, and help you along the process. It's all about building a sustainable product right here in Tobago. Currently, TADCO is the largest supplier of local chicken in Tobago. And we are reaching out to the supermarkets, the hotels, the various restaurants in terms of supporting this initiative. We are building the sector by building the people. That is how you do development.
Right, okay. And one of the things that I want to ask is, how does this feed into the mega farm project?
Right.
How does the poultry and contract farm initiative feed into the overall mega farm project?
Right. So what is needed is numbers. This is a numbers game. We need large outputs.
So when you say mega farm, I want to make it clear, are you talking about one huge farm, or is it a number of different farms in different locations in Tobago?
Right. So we are in conversations with certain companies that supply the chicks and stuff like that, and that company actually controls 51% of the market. They are willing to make an investment of $20 million into creating a project that could change the landscape in Tobago. And when I say change the landscape, add to the national food security, a product that comes from Tobago. Persons may not know, but all of the hatching eggs in the Trinidad and Tobago and some parts of the region are imported. If we can fill that gap, the input will definitely be better and better be able to assist those farmers. So by doing this mega, we are actually looking at building out this sector, actually looking at building a product right here from Tobago to feed into the National Food Security Initiative. That is the overall aim of it. So we are going to get persons who are going to have a larger holding, be able to hold a larger amount of chicks, and be able to feed into a system that is better be able to not just feed here, but looking at Trinidad and Tobago and maybe in the future regionally.
Right. But I want to have it clear in my mind as well what the mega farm is going to look like. Is it that we're going to drive into a property that is, let's say, for instance, 20 acres or like just a big piece of landmass that is dedicated particularly to different farmers coming in and rearing chickens? Or are we going to continue utilizing the space that that farmers already have in different areas of the island?
Right. So it's twofold. Huh? You cannot leave out the smaller persons that are doing farming. You can't leave them out because they will be able to fill a gap somewhere. With this mega farm, because of some biosecurity, you may have some limited traffic because you have to be able to understand things like traceability, if there's any contamination. So there will be some limiting in terms of persons' access. With this mega farm as well, yes, they're going to have persons billing out in a massive way, but we're going to be utilizing the technology. So the new technology in terms of the pens, you have the tunnel farming. This would definitely be able to remove some of the odors and stuff like that. And the biosecurity is very stringent, and persons have to understand that this is necessary to understand to reduce diseases and any virus or any stuff like that. So there will be some restrictions. So there may not be some driving in and that type of arrangement.
Okay, like how you could go to that farm up there in Kendall and the different ones. Is there an area that you guys are currently proposing for this mega farm?
We're actually leaving it up to the division. The division have some land under their purview, and I'm guided by that. So we're going to have further conversations as relates to that, as to where exactly this will be.
Excellent. And I want to have a better understanding of the poultry contract farming initiative, because you would have mentioned earlier that if someone has the finances or they have the land mass and they can put together a proper farm, that you guys would be willing to invest the chickens there. Now, if I'm not mistaken, it's 1,000 chickens that each farmer is going to get. Please explain that part.
Right. So initially, back in last year, I believe it was late September, we would have started the poultry project. It was very difficult to get 500 chicken. Because of collaborations now that we would have made in Trinidad by two major stakeholders across there, we're able to get the chicks at a really nice price, a price that the average person may not be able to get it for, and get the feed at a very nice reduced rate, that we are, because we buy in bulk. We would have started some person would have started with 100. They have now graduated into 2,000. And these are the kind of persons that we would want to invest in. I would want to pay very commendations to this guy, Putz. I believe he has a very good program. I think he's up to over 5,000 birds. There's a few others, Damian Stewart and some other persons. And these are the kind of persons and the kind of initiative that we have to help these people in terms of making the numbers, because it's all about the numbers. That's what it comes down to. So persons are graduating, persons are expanding, and this is what we want. This is the growth, this is the development, and this is how you build capacity. Let TATCO worry about the marketing aspect of it, in terms of getting it to the various persons, but let TATCO worry about that, and you just do what you do best.
Right. So, question. The distribution of chicks, is it based upon individual capacity of each farmer, or is there a strict number of chicks that each farmer who participates in the initiative gets?
So it's based on a calculation. Normally, if you have the virtual farming, the virtual pens, that's it's 0.75 to 1 square foot per chicken. If you're on the ground, it's 1 square foot per bird. So we work it out based on that calculation. You can't have the chicken with too much room because they would exercise and it would result in the pongs being less. So you have to be able to understand the calculation. And
is that what they call free range chicks?
Yes.
Okay.
But that's a different breed of chicken. Huh?
Okay.
Yeah. So it's all about pounds and it's all about numbers again. So persons are given chicken based on what they can do, and then with the help of Dr. Downs, who has been exceptionally in all our aspects. I mean, he provides very good reports and he provides a lot of advice, and it goes hand in hand with the division as well in terms of the collaboration. And I think we are doing pretty good so far in the poultry thing. We have some sales going on down at Tadco to get persons interested. I'm really appealing to persons who are involved in the agro processing. You know, there are different things that you can do further with the chicken. You can come to us, have a conversation. If you can take some of the chicken and create another value added product to the chicken, maybe you could do pack seasoned chicken. Maybe you could do the same chicken nuggets. The wonderful food that we see that we go to the grocery and buy. I'm appealing to persons who are involved in this type of trade. Come into us, let's have a conversation. Let's see how best we can market this product further by adding further value to this product.
Right. And farmers who already have an active slash successful poultry farm, are they also given chicks, or is this only for farmers that are just starting out?
No, it's persons. We have persons who were doing chickens and they came onto the program, and we are assisting them. The aim is not to leave anyone behind. Once you come to us, we are going to assist you.
Right. And for the new farmers who are just entering into the industry, that you are giving, let's just say, 500 to 1,000 chicks. When we look at large-scale poultry production, is that enough?
So let's compare domestically. The smallest farm in Trinidad maybe is about 10,000 on a cycle. I'm not saying that farmers are going to reach there now, but we have to look at this on a strategic way. So any strategic plan is normally 3 to 5 years to get the output that you want. So it's going to be a slow process. I believe that persons can do it. Persons are now building out. Poultry is a very, very time-consuming initiative. And most of the farmers in Tobago are mostly like part-time. So we are getting persons who are now going through the contracts. They're going to take loans. We are in conversation with ADB, and persons are now looking they see the benefit of it. So it's a step in the right direction, but it's a ladder. So every trader is going to be more production. Every trader there's going to be more capacity. Every trader somebody will have more birds doing. So it's a strategic way of getting what we want.
Excellent. And we're just going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back with a lot more on this particular conversation. So, guys, we're going to see you pretty soon, right after this.
As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say,
this is how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show. Everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look out below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look out below, 'cause this is your show.
Inner Health, number 13B, Portmore, Scarborough, Tobago, with over 25 years experience offering services in and not limited to microscopic blood analysis, reflexology, and the sale of a wide range of organic herbal products used to supplement thyroid, lymphatic, heart, kidney, and brain health, and the male and female reproductive systems. Come and chat with us. Remember, your health is your wealth.
Are you flood ready? Recycle and properly dispose of large waste. Avoid sweeping yard clippings or trash into drains. Plant trees to avoid soil erosion. An initiative to help people prevent, prepare, recover. TATIL, where people are people.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with Candace and Denise.
Welcome back, guys, to Good Morning Tobago, right here on Tobago Updates. If you are just joining us, I have been speaking with Ricardo Alfred, who is the chairman of the Tobago Agro Business Development Company, TADCO, and we've been talking a bit about the poultry contract farming initiative. And as we round up this discussion, before I kind of touched briefly on the idea of free-range chickens. But there are a number of different variations of chicken that we see on the market. But what you guys are investing, I'm guessing, is one particular breed of chicken. So explain this to me. Is there variety in what is being offered? Is it that when it comes to variety, the farmers are responsible for bringing their other breeds of chicken into the conversation? Explain that for me.
Right. So globally, there are two types. There's the broilers and then there's layers.
Mhm.
Layers are for table eggs and broilers are for meat that we eat. The parent stock of these birds, for the layers, you have things like the Rhode Island Red, and then for the broilers, you have things like cub and these type of birds. The initiative that we are looking at with the stakeholder in Trinidad really is to really understand that, hey, there's a market, there's a niche right there. All of the hatching eggs that goes into the hatchery are imported. All. Let me just make that clear. Years ago, a company in Trinidad used to do the breeding stock many years ago, but because of the availability of U.S. currency back then, they have all moved away from the parent stock and more started to import. But because of the lack of U.S. currency, the lack of trading between certain areas, and then you have persons kind of hoarding their hatching eggs to supply their country first, and then we get the Gregs after, if you want to call it that. But if we are able to bridge that gap, Tobago will be able now to not just supply Tobago, but supply Trinidad and maybe regionally, because we know we will be placed in a on a geographic location to be able to supply the Caribbean possibly. And this is the aim of development. So I was talking about the different services that would have arrived from poultry. You have the hatching eggs, the hatchery, the people that are mining the chicken, and then you have the processing plants, and then you have persons that add value to the chicken. Each one of these services have many different services that could definitely benefit an entrepreneur or persons who have a little more money to spend in terms of assisting these things. So there are different aspects that we can do. The aim is building the sector treader by treader, really.
Okay, excellent. And when we talk about fostering healthy competition within the poultry industry here on the island, because you guys are investing so heavily in this initiative, and I don't want to say trying to put everybody on equal footing, but giving each person the opportunity to have the tools that they need to succeed. How then are we going to foster healthy competition? For instance, are some farmers encouraged to get into halal chicken? You know, how does one separate themselves within the industry, even though Tadco is saying, okay, don't worry about the marketing aspect of it, we have that covered. How do you guys facilitate that type of
Right.
healthy competition?
So that's a very good initiative question, actually. If persons have a proposal on how they could add further value to the chicken, we are going to have the conversation. Just the other day, I think they had this mango festival. I mean, you had mango fish, you had different. These are the kind of initiatives that we definitely want to push. It's all about development, and as a company is Tobago Agribusiness Development Company, the aim of this really is to assist and develop the sector. We are not going to, in the past, you had down in Tadco, they are selling all these foreign chicken, cheese. Tadco is not a supermarket or is not a parlor. Our aim is to develop the sector. And we are going to be helping persons in terms of, if you look at it, our display, you have persons doing different pepper, garlic sauce. This is what the company is about, And in the future, if we can offer wholesale and allow the retailers to do their retailing, that is the development there. So we are going to be working with persons. If persons have a project, I'm appealing to persons. If they have a project that they could add further value to the chicken, let's have a conversation.
Excellent. Thank you so much for clarifying that. But then my question is it that Tadco is going to be adding that value on the market, or they are going to market it differently to Tadco to separate themselves from their competition?
Right. So Tadco, we have to foster business. We also have to foster individuals and their development. So a conversation can be made. If they want joint branding, if they want sole branding, we can have that type of arrangement, because the aim is not for Tadco to do everything, but it's to allow persons to do. We could sell the chicken to them at a reduced rate. We could give them different initiatives, there are so much things that we can do to assist them.
I'm happy to hear that. So that means that when we come down to Tadco, we can see chickens with different labels, not just the Tadco label. We can see those different labels and having variety, because
the aim is to allow the persons to develop, and I mean, we can work out rates. Obviously, we do have salaries and stuff to pay. We also have to look at the business side of it as well. But the conversation can happen where, if persons are willing to take all the chicken and do whatever they want, I welcome that. That will help us.
All right, excellent. But how does one monitor quality in productivity and compliance with that?
So this is why it must be a joint and collaborative effort. So far with the division, we have had a lot of collaborations with persons. And again, I must give kudos to Dr. Downs again, because he has introduced a level of competence. He has introduced a level of report on different stuff. And he has also gained some confidence with the farmers as well, as if they're having problems, they can call him. Traceability is very important. That biosecurity aspect of it must be documented. So we have field officers that will go out and check these things and ensure that these things are done optimally and correctly, because we do have some gaps. I must admit that. We do have some issues because it's a project that we are trying to build out. But long term, looking at it, this is a perfect project that could definitely assist Tobago.
All right, excellent. And how has research and reports that have been done previously, let's say by the different school, the Kendall Farm School, the Farm School at Hope, how has these projects, these research projects and report fed into a number of the projects that are now being done at Tadco? Because we would hate to think that if, let's say, for instance, there is a change in regime again, that the efforts that are being put in now would just, go to waste. So in regards to what has been done previously with research, how has that research fed into what is being done today?
So research is very key. Part of the Joint Select Committee questions was a question about TARI, which is the Tobago Research Institute, that we want to instill. Data is very key. We have acquired a lot of data in terms of age group of persons, in terms of persons' land holdings, in terms of how many chickens they are doing, their capacity, their mortality rate. That data is so crucial that we are better able to have a lot of projections. We are better able to make some informed decisions. The secretary and the division will have, they will be better able to answer certain questions, and data is crucial. So we are working on the data because data is needed to drive the industry and to also execute certain outputs. So far I think we are poised with our data. I don't want to focus mostly on that because we're not going to focus solely on the poultry. We are going to be dealing with certain aspects of the livestock industry as well. We had some training in collaboration with marketing, and I give a lot of kudos to the guys that came out from marketing division through Ms. Corbin and her team. They came out on a Sunday, and we had about 33 persons. They learned how to inspect a goat for slaughter. They look at the eyes, look at the feet, look at the, before to determine if it is ready for slaughter. We did that initial phase right up to the slaughtering part of it, examining the kidneys, examining different organs so that you are able to identify certain things. And this is the kind of training and the kind of collaboration that is needed to drive the sector. It's the same that we are trying to do with the crops. I know that we have had some contract farming with persons in the cassava because we really want to push that initiative. And it's a stepping process, but it's only so much that can be done over a period. I mean, strategically, any plan is 3 to 5 years. That is how you really execute what you are doing. But we are using all of the resources, whether it be from various divisions, to help us. And I think we are on the right track. It's just that we need to keep persons focused, and there are going to be some distractions, I call it. Just stay focused and keep the task in mind.
Excellent. And we want to shift gears a bit and talk a little bit about the development of the fishing sector. So with the limited time that we have left, let us know what has been happening in this area.
Right. So fishing, a lot of persons who have gravitated now to fish, they're moving away from the meat and they're going to fish. However, in order to develop the fishing sector, you must be able to control the mediums that bring the fish. Pirogue fishing, in our time, in the yesteryears, was sustainable. However, now you have persons wanting fish on a regular basis. The longline industry is able now to sustain that fishing industry. Through the capital of paradise, the guys are better trained now to go out there, get a large cadre of fish, various quantities, export the fish. You have persons that are making value-added products like this Chensia, who is doing smoked fish and other things. We want to welcome all of these persons who can add value to the fish. I am hoping that persons would now go down to Tatco and say they want to do fish nuggets or something. And I'm hoping that these are the kind of conversations that we need to start having. But we need to get persons not fully away from the pirogue fishing, but they have to expand themselves into the long line fishing to be able to go out there longer, catch a larger number of fish, and sustain the industry. The industry cannot be sustained by certain persons going out there for a couple hours and then coming back. You have to understand that fishing is an industry, and we have to go in that direction to keep it sustainable.
Right. And is this one of the things that the All Tobago Fisherfolk Association has been complaining about when we look at competition coming out of Barbados? Is that Barbados has the capabilities through their resources and the availability of the type of vessels that are needed to really go out there and pull in the type of, the numbers has that been a problem for the industry in Tobago?
Yeah, so we are in conversation with ADFA through Mr. Douglas. I know he's a very passionate person as relates to the fishing industry. You mentioned Barbados. Also give you some record. Barbados imports 4 million pounds of fish every year. So there's a gap. Mm-hmm. Right? So this is how the longline industry, Trinidad and Tobago, is able to offer a cheaper fuel. Okay. Right? So if persons have, again, a little more money to spend, they are able to assist in filling that gap. Fuel is very expensive in Barbados, which allows persons not to go too far, and if they go, they have to team up to really But so
All right.
so there's some collaboration that could happen.
Right, and as we wrap up, how are we equipping our fishermen to be able to sustain that long line fishing?
Right. So what needs to happen is that we have to have the conversations with the various associations, get them understanding the different types of boats that are out there that they could use. Maybe try to attract a younger generation of fishermen. Understand that they have to understand the banking, they have to understand profit and loss, they have to understand creating a cash flow projections. But again, these are all part of the training aspect of it, and we are going to be ruling out some. I am in conversation with some banks in terms of assisting farmers and fishermen and getting them up and ready for them to understand the business side of it. I don't see them as fishermen, I don't see them as farmers, I see them as businessmen involved in the fishing trade or the agricultural trade. That's how I class them as.
Excellent. And we are out of time for this morning, but I saw that we have a question on Facebook where someone asked if it's only livestock that is going to be on the mega farm. So quickly answer that as we close off our guests.
No. We are going to be embracing technology. So you have things like the hydroponics, and there are quite a few persons who have did very well with that type of thing. So you say engage them and see if they'll be willing to
Excellent. Thank you so much for that. Guys, again, thank you for staying tuned to Tobago Updates. This was Good Morning Tobago, and I thank you so much for being here with me this morning, guys. Have a great day.